All right, we set?
Yep.
Okay, welcome everybody to our PrAC committee meeting, July 28th, 2022. We will start off with introductions, and as you appear on my screen, I'll call your name and please wave at everybody. Steve Williams.
I'm here.
Andy Crump.
Here.
Tim West.
Hello.
Joey Knopf.
Here.
And Brent Haverkamp.
Right here.
And I am your chair, Troy Bollinger. And as Melissa mentioned, we're all here together and there's no camera. So, but I'm sure you will not be disappointed that you cannot see faces. So we will move on. First is the approval of minutes. You've all had the minutes attached to this event. So hopefully you've taken the chance to read those over. And this would be a time for discussion or motion to approve.
This is Andy. I approve.
I'll second that.
We have Andy with the motion to approve the minutes and Steve Williams with the second. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, Justin, you want to pull?
Yeah. Joey Knopf,
Yes.
Troy Bollinger,
Aye.
Steve Williams,
Aye.
Brent Haverkamp,
Aye.
Tim West,
Yes.
and Andy Crump.
Aye.
Motion passed.
All right. And the first item of business is we're going to skip to just a portion of the staff report from Melissa so that her and RJ can get back to the concert. Melissa, I'll turn it over to you.
So yeah, sorry that my camera is not working on my laptop right now. But I'm really excited to give you guys some updates. So I'll introduce our new recreation coordinator first. So RJ got hired back on June 22nd was his first day. So he's been here for a month. I'm really excited to have him on our team and be back to fully staffed on the recreation and aquatic side. It's been a great month having him on our team. And I'm really excited for all of you guys to meet him. I know a couple of you guys have met him down at the concert so far, but I'll go ahead and pass it on to him and he can say a few words.
Hi all, my name is RJ Auberts. I moved here from Washington State University Tri-Cities campus where I worked in recreation there. Like Melissa said, I've been here about a month now, just very excited to be here and get going with some new programs out of our area. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to shoot them my way.
What's been your first order of business since you got
First
here?
order of business is getting caught up on concerts and movies. So we've got those going here pretty well. And then some of the stuff we've added so far, we've got a youth camp that we're adding to our camp series that is with a local author named Laura, and she's doing some creative stuff for teens. And we've got an adult basketball league that starts at the end of August.
Thank you.
Brent, go ahead.
Hey, RJ, welcome. Glad you're on board.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Hey, RJ, you just mentioned new programs. What type of new programs are you looking at implementing?
Well, my background is primarily within sports, so obviously that's going to be my focus. Recording in progress. The directive is to focus on, sorry, we got some reverberation.
Yeah.
On ages 12 and up. So trying to provide some programming for people who might not have it that's coming out of our office these days.
Any particular sports that you're looking at?
Well, based on the facilities we've got, I think some outdoor volleyball, soccer could be really popular and really easy to start. Pickleball, obviously, is a favorite of mine, so I can't wait to get into that. And from there, I know we've got a survey coming, so I'm just really interested to see what's on there and take that info and run with it.
Cool. Thank you, RJ.
You guys might want to move a little closer to the microphone.
Oh, yeah.
I
Sorry.
gotta ask the question, where are you guys? You look like you're in a bunker.
We're at the concerts in the park.
We're in the, we're in the theater, which is a really nice theater, but because of the outlet, we kind of have just a green carpeted wall behind us.
Okay.
Awesome. And then as far as what else we've got going on in August, so yeah, our movies in the park start Friday next week, and those will take place every Friday nights throughout the month of August. This is our third concert in the park. We still have 4 more taking place at the end of the Oregon Trail every Thursday night from 6:30 to 8:30. We're doing really well at the pool. We're about halfway through our summer schedule. And then we do plan to close on September 3rd for our annual pool maintenance and cleanup to get some projects done there. And then we will be having a booth at the National Night Out on Tuesday for Parks and Recreation. And then our registration for all of our fall programming is going to take place on Friday, August 19th. And then that's about what I've got it for the month.
Any questions for Melissa from her report? Okay. Thank you, Melissa and RJ. I was so eager to move them to the top of the agenda so they could go finish their business at the concert that I unintentionally skipped over public comment. So I do apologize for that. It was not intentional. Justin, I know you told me about one individual, but I'll let you mention the names in case there are others that I don't know about.
Yeah, we only have one public comment for this week, and her name is Emily Lisborg.
All right, Emily, will you make sure you state your name and where you live? You do not need to repeat your full address, just where you reside. And then you have 3 minutes to share with the committee that which you would like us to hear.
Hi there. My name is Emily Lisborg, and I live in Rivercrest. Steve and I are actually neighbors. Nice to see you, Steve.
Yeah, good to see you, Emily.
Yeah, I was happy to see I had gotten the agenda for today, and I was really happy to see Monarch Butterflies in its agenda item. And I want to thank you all for including that. As an avid gardener and insect lover, it occurs to me that if the city offers education about the decline of monarch butterflies, or makes an effort to plant milkweed in public spaces, or takes any effort kind of to engage the community about monarch butterflies specifically, it's an excellent opportunity to speak and act more broadly in regards to the general decline of pollinators, specifically Oregon native insect communities, and the importance of providing safe habitat for their continued existence. Oregon is home to over 500 species of native bees and 150 moths and butterflies. The Xerxes Society, an international nonprofit dedicated to insect conservation, pollinator protection, and reducing pesticide use on private and public land, is based in Portland. They have an incredible network of staff, some located in Oregon City with integrated pest management experience, that have science-backed data on integrated pest management strategies designed to minimize damage to pollinators. Even monarch butterflies require an ecosystem of plants in order to reproduce successfully. Of course, milkweed is important to caterpillars, but adult butterflies need a whole ecosystem of plants to feed on. The Bee City program is one that West Linn has incorporated into their city government, offers the infrastructure and knowledge base that could help Oregon City to play an active role in insect conservation. Part of that could be maximizing the current efforts to help pollinators, including adding signage at the Promenade Pollinator Garden maintained by Oregon City Parks Foundation. Another that would be low cost and high yield for pollinators would be to take advantage of low use park space in sunny areas, such as that lowest part of Waterboard Park. That's currently, I think, a gravel parking lot. And as a PS, I did submit an application for consideration on PRAC back in April, and would love to be a more regular attendee at meetings. Just putting it out there in case there's anything I need to do in order to set up an interview. I am available. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Emily. I'm sure Justin made note of that for your application, and we'll be in touch. I assume Justin's handling that. be in touch with you about your application as a member of PrAC.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item is vote for vice chair of this committee of PrAC. I sent out an email just encouraging everybody to think of somebody you may want to nominate. And I say everybody, not that everybody's required, but at least to maybe have it in your mind, think about it. Everybody on PrAC currently is eligible to make a nomination. And everybody except the chair, myself, is eligible to hold the position of vice chair. There is no limitations in our bylaws that restrict new members or anything like that. So everybody, it is open to everybody. So I will open the floor right now. If you have a nomination, please raise your hand. I'll call on you. And then once we have all the nominations, then we will proceed to vote. Tim, please.
I nominate Mr. Brent Haverkamp.
Brent, do you accept?
No, I nominate Tim West. That's why I'm
Okay,
laughing
so I guess-
so hard.
So I guess we had a decline. Now, Tim, do you accept? You're muted, Tim.
Yes, I'll
All
take it.
right, so we have one nomination for Tim. Any other nominations? We'll take as many as people want to make. Okay, so we have one nomination. The way we do this is Justin will poll for nominations for Tim. Normally we do this separately for each individual, but with one nomination, we'll do it for Tim. If it passes, Tim, you're vice chair. If it does not pass, then we will open nominations up again right now until we have either a vice chair or we have no other place to go. So at this point, Justin, will you poll the committee, please?
Yes, Troy,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Brent,
Aye.
Joey,
Yes.
and Tim.
Yes.
Tim, I
Alright.
think you were the only one that hesitated on your vote.
I did redo Brent, yes.
That was not even planned, Troy. I don't,
Oh, I-
that was not planned at all tonight.
I believe it. I believe it.
I mean, seriously, my seat's coming up in 6 months. And so, that has to be taken into consideration. And Tim has been a solid person on this committee and he has some time left. So I think that's very valuable. Congratulations, Tim.
Why, thank you.
So Tim will serve for the remainder of this year until January meeting, where we will vote for a new chair and vice chair at that time. Okay. Moving on. Justin is going to talk to us about the Monarch Butterfly Pledge.
That'll be Kendall.
Actually,
I'm
that's
sorry,
me.
Kendall.
And Justin, do I have the control of the screen, please?
Yeah, you should be able to, you're co-host, so you should be able to share.
So Emily stole a little bit of my thunder discussing the Monarch Butterflies. So back last year around May of 2021, we brought forward the Mayor's Monarch Butterfly Pledge to PrAC. It was something that was at the time being driven by Commissioner now Commission President McGriff had shared this opportunity, wanted me to share this information with the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee and see if this would be something that we would support. We did not get the support from PrAC at that time, but there were continued conversations with now Commission President McGriff and also Karen Morey about the possibility of still pursuing this Mayor's Monarch Butterfly Pledge. So tonight, what I'd like to do is provide a little background information on what this pledge entails, and just let you know what we're looking to do in regards to the Parks and Recreation Department as far as our commitment. We believe that we're doing a lot of the things currently. It wouldn't be a heavy lift for our department. As Emily said, we currently have a pollinator garden that we manage and work with the Parks Foundation on at VFW. There are plans to also have another pollinator garden at DC Lotterette Park. So we believe that this would be something that we would like for the Parks and Recreation Committee to support moving forward. So a little bit of background. Basically what we're looking to do is we're looking to partner with the National Wildlife Federation and to fulfill this pledge and to create and maintain habitats for monarch butterflies. So this pledge has been taken in multiple cities across the United States. And so we believe that this would be an initiative we should also pursue. Why is this important? Well, as you may be aware of, the Western monarch populations lost 95% of their population since the 80s, and the Eastern population has fallen by as much as 90%. So there's definitely a need to participate in preserving and creating these habitats for the monarch butterfly. So what does our commitment look like? The Parks and Recreation Department's committed to doing 3 of the actions out of 30 to promote the conservation of the monarch butterfly. 1 is issuing a proclamation to raise awareness about the decline of the monarch butterfly and the species' need for habitat. To also launch or maintain a public communication effort to encourage residents to plant monarch gardens at their homes or in their neighborhoods, and host or support Monarch Neighborhood Challenge to engage neighborhood and homeowners associations within the community to increase their awareness and support the community around with the mission and or create habitats for the monarch butterfly.
Kendall, can you get rid of that give subtitles a try on the screen?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't see that on mine.
All right.
Yeah, I try to get rid of it too, but I can't. So
Sorry about that.
There you go.
There you go, it's gone.
All right. So what I have here is the 2021 impact report that lists kind of the impact and the reach that this pledge has had. It also lists some of the cities that completed some of the most actions, some of the achievements, how many acres and pollinator habitat were enhanced across the United States. But it just basically provides some facts associated with the pledge. So tonight, what we're recommending is the Park and Recreation Committee members support the city's effort and write a letter of recommendation to the City Commission and support this effort moving forward. Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
Kendall, why, 2 questions actually. Why didn't PrAC approve of this before? When was it presented to them?
It was technically presented back in May of 2021. And what ended up happening was originally I sent an email to the committee with some information about the pledge. there was some questions for about getting some additional information. So at one of our, I think it was our PrAC meeting back in May of 2021, we had some discussion about the pledge. And from that discussion, we had some questions at the time with the chair and vice chair about possibly bringing this back to PrAC. But based on the level of support or no support for this moving forward, we didn't bring it back.
Okay, thank you. I mean, the fact that the decline since the 80s is in the 90 percentile range is quite frightening, to be honest with you. And this has my full support. But I have one preface. It's not really a preface, but my second question is there any financial commitment from the city for this?
No.
Is it budgeted?
Yeah, no, this will not affect us at all in regards to financial impacts.
Okay.
These marketing campaigns, proclamations, we already have a pollinator garden and plan on doing more pollinator gardens. It will have minimal impact on us financially.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kendall.
Tim?
So Kendall, by having the city adopt 3 of 30 recommendations to bring the Monarch Butterflies back, it doesn't sound like much of a commitment on behalf of Oregon City. And what can we do? What are the other things that the city could do to look like they're committed to the Butterfly Preservation Act? I mean, 3 of 30, that sounds really weak.
Well, part of the pledge, part of the requirement for the pledge is 3. And what we tried to look at is look at things that won't won't affect us financially, won't have a huge financial impact on the department in regards to kind of what we would need to do and invest in this this program, because obviously, like Brandon shared, we don't have any additional funds budgeted for this program. We already have some things already in play and some things that we can do moving forward to raise awareness and to do some additional marketing to raise awareness throughout the community. It doesn't mean that we can't do more, but basically what we're providing is a list of things that we can do.
So one thing comes to mind, and that is at the Hillendale Park, there's a seep, a spring that comes out and it makes one part of the park very wet. And it doesn't seem to be in one of the soccer fields, and it's something that could be very easily converted to don't mow here, plant some milkweed and other plants, and that kind of thing I'm sure would raise the score a little bit, that would show the city could commit more and really not cost anything.
Right.
Thank you, Tim. Joey?
Yeah, my question was right along the same lines as what Tim brought up. I was curious about the commitment to those 3 items, and Kendall, what do you think? From I was going to ask if they're already in place. It sounds like they're not, and that's part of the commitment that we'll have moving forward if we adopt this. So what do you see as the necessary steps to sort of get those launched and move along the path towards, to Tim's point, additional of those 27 additional steps that we could possibly take?
So we did provide the attachment with the additional steps. So we would be more than happy to have some additional conversation with PrAC and other groups about other things that we could possibly do. The next step for us is if PrAC does support this moving forward and provides a letter of recommendation, to then send that information to the city commission and get them to approve it. To next step would be to have a proclamation, and then to talk about the timeline for some of these items actually happening, and probably do some additional outreach with some of our community groups about other things that we can do. And I know one of the original ideas Karen and I had discussed is partnering with the Parks Foundation and seeing how we could actually team up with them and do some additional activities in regards to the requests that the pledge requires.
I have some very strong feelings about this, but before I share them, does anyone else on the committee have anything to share?
Is John using any pesticides right now that are counter to the Monarch effort?
John, you wanna
Yeah,
come on
just
in?
sure. So just first and foremost, you know, I love butterflies just as much as the next person. Planting milkweed in our parks, I don't know how viable of a solution that is. Milkweed's actually a toxic plant. So I don't know that we want to be planting that, you know, in areas where people are going to be actively playing and recreating. But I think that we could, you know, I'm like with Kendall, you know, that we could look at, you know, different areas, whether it be like a natural resource area or somewhere else. We do a lot of planting specifically to try to provide plant material for pollinators. Yes, we currently use pesticides in our parks. I wouldn't say that we use anything that would negate or, you know, endanger monarchs specifically. So that's kind of my take on the situation.
Any other comments before I share? Ken, please, and
Corey, I don't know if you,
and for the record, Ken has joined us, also a member of PrAC. Ken, thanks for being here. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, sorry, I was a little late, but you know, we did a bunch of these pollinator gardens over in West Lynn as well, and I think that, and the couple of them that we have are all completely, for the most part, operated by volunteers. And there's the biggest one, I think, is down at Mary S. Young Park, and in those areas specifically, we kept pesticides out, other than spraying and taking out all of the invasives and everything in the up front, which the Xerces Society was on board with. So I think that if you work closely with the Xerces Society and apply the pesticides at the right time in the right place, and then you're done, I think that's a easiest and probably the best way to get something like that started. So, but by far, you know, that's an easy project to get volunteers to be supportive of, and for the whole area. So I think if you could find areas that you could designate that aren't areas that are, you know, designed for other rec purposes, or you know, they don't have to be wastelands, but areas that can be exposed, nice signage, having water close by, and those types of things. It's really not that hard and not that expensive to do.
Thank you, Ken. Any other comments from members of PrAC before I share mine? Like I said, I got some strong feelings about this. This was brought to us back in 2021. I was not in favor of it then, and I still am not in favor of it. And I'll explain why. Just for point of clarification, this discussion is not about monarch butterflies. It's not about pollinator gardens. It really is only about the mayor's pledge. And so I think the monarch butterfly is a valid concern and consideration. I think pollinator gardens are valid considerations. I do not think the pledge is something we should engage in. And I want to separate those because I don't want people to get caught up in monarch butterflies and pollinator gardens and saving the butterflies, when really this discussion is only about, do we sign the pledge or don't we, or rather, do we make a recommendation to commission to sign the pledge? Here are the reasons I am opposed to that, and in no particular order. this is a pledge that does not benefit the city of Oregon City or its citizens in any way. This benefits the foundation because if the more municipalities, the more cities, the more mayors' names that are on the list for the foundation, the better the foundation looks for their efforts. There is absolutely no benefit to the city of Oregon City to pledge these things. Now, we have chosen 3 of the 30, and I have no issues with doing those 3 things or doing more than those 3 things for the Monarch Butterfly. But if we fall short in one of those 3 things, then they take us off the list and we know our pledge is no longer valid because they want people on there that are going to commit and follow through with those 3 things. So there's the benefit to them. There is absolutely no benefit to us. I also am concerned that if we sign the pledge that it appears as though we're doing something and we are not. Doing these 3 items, yes, is doing something, but just having our name as part of a pledge does not do anything. It only puts our name on the list, makes us look good, but doesn't actually do anything. What really does something is when we take action. The other point I want to make is we don't currently have a mayor, and this is a mayor's list. I think it would be wise to allow the mayor, once we have a mayor elected for a full term, that would be the appropriate time to consider this, because what's happening here is if we make a recommendation to the commission, then we don't have a mayor to sign the pledge, but we do have a commission president who is not the mayor and is fulfilling the duties of the mayor on an interim basis. And so I think as a courtesy to the mayor, whoever that is that gets elected, that would be the appropriate time to let him or her put their signature on it if that's what they choose to do. So I will vote. I will not vote in favor of this pledge, and I would have a difficult time putting my name and title on a letter recommending it to the commission. Tim, you're muted. Go ahead, please.
Thanks for your opinions. I think everybody has an opinion on this. The pledge is just a pledge. There's, as Kendall said, there's no cost and there's no risk to go ahead and do this. This is low-hanging fruit of the 3 of 30 that you can get into, but there's many more that are kind of semi-low-hanging fruit, I'm sure. Like planting these pollinator gardens in all the detention ponds around Oregon City, and there's dozens of them. And that would go a long ways and be very low cost, if not like no cost. So I think that the appearances to do good goes a long ways. And I think that the mayor situation is that the mayor is going to be elected in November, and Denise is probably 90% there right now. So should be no delay in our park board signing up on this program.
Brent, please.
Hey, guys, I apologize. I'm a little bit confused on this 3 of 30 bit. Can somebody help me to better understand what this 3 of 30 is?
Kendall?
Kendall, you're muted.
So if you pull up the actual attachment, the application, where it has a list of the items that we can do, and it says communications and covenanting, and it lists out all of the things that you can do to be in compliance or with fulfilling the pledge. Those are all the things that you can choose from. And if you'd like, I can share my screen to show you.
Thank you.
Show you that. Give me 1 second. So let's see. Can you see this?
I can.
Can't see it at all.
You can see it.
I can see it. Brent, can you see it?
I can see a part of it. Any way you can enlarge your screen, Kendall? There you go.
Can you see it better now?
Yes.
Okay. So it says communications and covenant, and then it provides the list of things that you can do.
Okay.
So this is
All
the
right.
list that we pulled these 3 items from.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
So essentially, Brent, they give us 30 things. We can choose 3 of them to make our pledge. In my opinion, I'd say valid. If we fall short of those 3 at the end of, I believe it's the year, then that's when our name gets pulled off the list and our pledge is, I don't know if they deem it inactive or invalid or what, but it's no longer good at that point.
Yeah, it just sounds, I think the thing that bugs me most about all this is that it's kind of being political to help save a species of pollinator, and Lord knows we need pollinators these days. I apologize, but that's how I feel, and I don't want to make it political. I want to support this without the politics involved. That's my stance.
Thank you, Brent. Andy?
Kendall, you might have said it earlier, and I completely missed. I mean, what's the Parks and Rec recommendation for this?
The recommendation is that the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee write a letter recommendation that we were able to share with the City Commission, recommending that they move forward with signing the pledge.
Is there any reason that we wouldn't be able to comply? It seems pretty simple, but I don't know. That's probably more of a question for you and John. If it's
no,
okay, all right.
And you do have the option to renew every year if that's something that we deem that we want to do. So.
Any other comments about this? Ken, please.
You're muted.
Ken.
There we go. Okay.
There you go.
Sorry. The other thing that's kind of an advantage of this is without even seeing it, and I'm coming in late on it, but this is kind of one of those things that is just kind of a nice thing. It's a supportive of, and when you're looking at how the city participates regionally, and if you look around and all of the other neighboring cities and some of these different things are partners, it's just kind of one of those things that's just a good low-hanging, feel-good thing that actually does go a long ways. It helps show that the city is, can be a player with the regional partners, and it is an important topic. The pledge itself is just one of those things that you just do, and it's just it's kind of a kiss the babies type of activity. But I kind of agree with you, Troy, that action really does speak way louder than doing the pledges and that sort of thing. But the pledge is kind of one of those things that gets the ball rolling and makes it a lot easier then to go back. And if we do need to figure out a way to ask for funds or something like that later, there's lots of other parts of activities. So I think upping the game way beyond 3 activities would be fairly easy to do. So I don't feel like committing to a 3 is really that risky. But I do think it is something that would be, it's just kind of one of those things that you just want to be a part of from a staff standpoint and from a city standpoint. If the council comes up and gets asked later on why they aren't doing a pledge, they're going to go, what? So I think it's just one of those things that just makes sense to do.
Thank you, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments?
Troy, I just managed to get back. Can you hear me?
Yes, we were wondering who that phone number was. Yes. Go
Well,
ahead, Steve.
when you're out, it's kind of difficult. I'll be very brief. Given the support, the support from the Parks and Recreation folks, and given the information that I've certainly heard from others here this evening, I would agree that this seems to be a fairly easy support of something like this. There's really very little cost, very little impact. We can always use good visual and good vibes on things. For all those reasons, I think it's something I would certainly support.
Thank you, Steve. Any other final comments? So do we need, I guess, do we need a vote on this, Justin? I think we do, right? Yeah, do you want to go ahead and conduct that?
Yeah.
Vote of approval or support, right?
Yeah, so-
in favor of writing the letter to recommend to commission.
I will start with Ken.
Yes, I'm in favor of this. I did have one question. I'm assuming staff will actually prepare the letter.
We can prepare the letter. Normally, we work with the chair.
Okay,
and-
but I mean,
Yeah.
we don't have to sit in a meeting and try to craft a letter. That's
No, no.
okay. That's
No,
all
no.
I was after. So yes.
Okay. Steve,
I'd support.
Troy,
No.
Joey,
Yes.
Brent,
A strong eye.
Andy,
I second that. I
and Tim.
I approve.
Motion passed 6-1, or vote passed.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to staff reports, Kendall.
First, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in our joint work session with the City Commission in regards to the Clackamas Park Master Plan. We really appreciate your support, your feedback. Right now, what we're doing is we're taking all that feedback and we're working with Lango Hansen to make some revisions. And then the goal will be to bring that back, hopefully at the August 17th City Commission meeting with the revisions to share with the City Commission to hopefully get their approval to move that Clackamas Park Master Plan forward. So again, thank you for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. I also like to provide an update on the Parks Master Plan. We've been working on the citywide survey. That survey was finalized this week and it should have gone out today. It would be mailed out to households today and should land in people's mailboxes the week of August 8th. We will be following up with Pros Consulting to now discuss the next possible date for a open house and public engagement meeting to share that information that we get back from the survey. So we'll have an update coming in the next several weeks about what that date will be. I just want to provide an update on Sportscraft for Steve. We're still negotiating.
Thank
Sorry,
okay,
Steve.
thank you.
Sorry, Steve. One of these days, I'll be able to wrap that one up.
Thank you.
The other thing I wanted to provide an update on is interviews with the PrAC applicants. We finally got approval to move forward with the interview process. Some of you older members will be aware that we changed the process just recently, and we had the chair and vice chair with the mayor and myself participating in the interviews, and then the mayor making the decisions on who was going to be appointed. So now what's been decided is that we will go back to the old way, where the committees will be doing the interviews of the applicants and then providing a recommendation to the city commissioners, or to say city commissioners, the commission president on the recommendation for appointment. So Justin has been trying to reach out to you to get some days and times. Normally, how we normally do this is we have a work session before the regular meetings that we have scheduled. Our next meeting would be in September. And so the plan would be to have a work session before our regular meeting, follow up with the applicants, get those scheduled, send out the information about the 4 applicants that we have, Justin.
Yep.
To everyone in the committee, and then do the interview process during the work session, and then to deliberate during a regular meeting. Any questions about that? All right.
So, Kendall, just
Uh-huh.
a minute. What you're suggesting is we should be prepared to have a bit longer meeting in September. Am I correct?
Yes, we normally start an hour early, around 6 o'clock, so we could get the interview scheduled depending on how many we have.
And did I hear you say we had 4?
Yes, we have 4.
Thank you.
All right.
Kendall?
Yes.
Quick question. Is there a set list of interview questions that we'll use, or are we coming up with our own interview questions?
Now, we do have a set interview questions that we've used, and we will send those out with the applicant's information, so you can have access to those questions, and that shouldn't be an issue moving forward.
Okay. And I'm assuming that the interview method changed from the mayor and the vice chair and the chair to the old way because we're currently without a mayor. Is that correct?
Some differing opinions, yes, on the process.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And that concludes my update, and I'll kick it over to Kathy.
Good evening, Prac. It's nice to see everybody. I am just re-entering from vacation, so today was really busy catching up with just being gone. And frankly, I'm recovering from last week. Kendall was gone, and I can tell you it was quite eye-opening to field some of what he normally would get as a phone call, including some really interesting pictures from John. We literally had a dumpster fire. And I think my professional response to John was, what do we do with that? So just a really big thank you to John and his crew and Public Works. He can talk about that if he wants to, but some of the things that Kendall and John deal with in the parks are pretty significant and pretty complex, and have to be dealt in a real timely manner just for public safety, to keep our parks looking as good as they do, which I can also say I've been in some of the Portland parks in the last month, and just thank you, John, so much for what you and your staff do. Our parks look fantastic compared to what's happening in Portland parks. We were in Southeast Portland, and I really appreciate the quality of what we have here. So thanks to John and his staff. At the Pioneer Center, the big issue for us right now is I have 9 total full and part-time staff. And I have filled 5, I've had 5 hires in the last 6 months. So we're dealing with a lot of training, a lot of onboarding. So it's been significant, but the new folks we have here are doing great. We really appreciate their commitment. We have a new recreation person starting in a couple of weeks, so we'll be full staffed. I think the first time in, gosh, over 3 years. So that's exciting. We're hoping to start up congregate meals, which is our dining room, to 4 days a week, starting the first week of August. So towards I think it's August 8th, as we've staffed up now. So that's movement forward. We're working closely with Melissa and her new recreation coordinator to offer rooms here at the Pioneer Center for some of their camps in the heat. And we want to continue to work well with the pool and recreation staff to utilize all of our rooms for whatever the community needs. So that is something we're really looking forward to. And then finally, we're in the middle of, we've signed our contract with the county for reimbursement of our services. There's some questions I still have regarding some of our funding. So we're working on finalizing that. So we've just been really busy, and concerts are in full swing. They've gone really, really well. So Melissa and her staff have worked really hard to make those an enjoyable event. And so far they're well attended and running smoothly. So that's it.
Thanks, Kathy. John?
All right. I'm just going to kind of give an update of some of the projects that we've got going on. So right now, we currently, the access to the cemetery is restricted at times because we have the mausoleum roof replacement project underway. Started this last month, and everything's going really well. We also have the Scattering Canyon project, which started at the cemetery, and that's a water quality improvement. So we're working really closely with Public Works and interacting on that project. Another project that's going to be getting kicked off this next month is the river access and Cove Trail improvements. So we're going to be doing some pruning and tree removals of hazardous trees along those trails. A lot of that still after effects of the ice storm. We're going to be doing concrete improvements along the trail where there's areas of sinkage and upheaval. And then at the parking lot at River Access, we're going to be improving the ADA access ramp there and widening some of the parking spots. So stay tuned for updates on that project. We're also working on the restroom replacement project at the cemetery. We have this next month also kicking off is going to be the Tyrone S. Woods dog park improvements. So we're going to be improving the drainage, the grading, adding an additional gate for access and egress in and out of the dog park, and just a couple of other improvements like fencing off the water quality facility that the dogs seem to enjoy so much. Unfortunately, that's not what it was designed for. Park rentals, just this last week, we had roughly over 10,000 people in our park system utilizing it for various park rentals. Those high numbers are going to be continuing throughout the next month. We also have an additional 300 to 400 people utilizing the park shelters for reservations. We have the kids camps being held in the park. We're working to make sure that our irrigation systems are tuned in, working properly. As a note, in case anyone has questions or concerns, Wesley Lynn's irrigation system is not currently on. That is due to an electrical phase event that occurred, which caused damage to the meter, and parts are not easy to come by. So we're seeking solutions to trying to get that taken care of. And Hillendale Park has multiple irrigation breaks. Lastly, I talked about this in some of the past meetings. Still currently at one seasonal out of our 5 that we normally carry through these summer months, which has had a major impact for our staff. Our crews are working weekends as well as during the weekdays, putting in extra hours, trying to make sure that everyone's shelter reservations and the park rentals all go smoothly. So yes, I appreciate that very much, Kathy. Our staff does work extremely hard, trying to get through these extreme heats, and making sure that we're taking care of our crew and keeping everybody healthy. So yeah, just really busy. We're in the middle of the summer months, and yeah, any questions, let me know.
All right, thanks, John. Just a reminder, National Night Out is next Tuesday. We also have our concerts in the park next Thursday, and then we have our movies in the park as well. I think movies in the park is Saturday. Is that correct, Justin?
It's Friday at
Friday.
Wesley Lynn Park.
Yep.
Friday.
So there's a lot of activity. So if you do have the opportunity to check out one of those events, please attend and let us know what you think. So and that completes my update.
Thank you, Kendall. Does anybody have any questions for Kendall or his staff? Once we move on to our member reports, we won't be addressing any of the staff reports. We need to do that now. If anybody has any questions. Tim, please.
Kendall, John seems to be behind on hiring employees to fill for the summer. What's the deal with that? Is there lack of applicants, or?
Yeah, Tim, you got to have applicants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference. If no one applies, it's hard to hire them.
Right.
Wait, how much do you pay?
And we
$18, $19, and $20 an hour,
Yeah.
depending on experience.
Yeah, we just adjusted our wage, increased our wage, and we're still not able to get people to apply for the positions. And that's just across the board everywhere you look. So
Yep.
That's amazing. That's amazing. All right, thank you.
I heard about a business on the East Coast where they normally hire for summer and they get lots of applicants, did not get one.
I keep threatening to apply.
Be careful, you might get hired.
John already said no, so it's all right.
Any other questions for Kendall on the staff reports? Okay, does anybody have a report to give? Just a reminder, you're not required to give a report, but if you've attended anything, seen anything that involves parks, now would be the time to report it, and then we will move forward after that to future agenda items. So let's not talk about that during the staff or during the member reports. Anybody? Tim, your report?
Yeah, so just a couple of observations as I've been out for the last month here. And one is that it seems like the concerts in the park are a tremendous success, and you guys are doing a great job over there putting all that together. Seeing like 5,000 people and the end of the Oregon Trail, that is a tremendous success. And the beer fest was very good also. But I took my grandson to the Oregon City pool and was outside at the wading pool. And there's one pretty easy thing that the OC could do, and that is provide some shade in that area. There's a big cement area with a pool in the middle with no shade. And it's pretty hot over there when the sun's up. So it would be a good thing to address. That's it.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else with a report? Okay. Future agenda items. Go ahead and raise your hand if you have a future agenda item. If you don't, remember this is not your only opportunity. This is just the opportunity, so it's on public record, but you're always encouraged as well as welcome to email those to Kendall, Justin, myself, and you can include Tim as well. You know, if you think of those at any future date, we just need those no later than 10 days prior to the next meeting. So, any future agenda items? No?
Troy, one question.
Yeah.
I look at the list. We have quite a list of future agenda items there. Some we've talked about, some we've not. How do we decide what makes it on the agenda and doesn't, or gets moved forward?
Well, this list here, some of these we have discussed, some of them are for kind of later when they apply. This is a list that Kendall and Justin keep on here. Kendall, tell me if I'm wrong, this is what I remember you telling us, but I could be a little off, that we keep on here just to make sure that we're not forgetting items, and maybe even more appropriate, this would be a to-do list. When you look at the master plan or the parks tour, things like that. But if there's anything on this list, Steve, or anybody that you think we need to be discussing right now, like at the next meeting, then certainly mention that, even if it's on this list. But this list is something that Kendall and Justin and I kind of monitor and move them to the actual agenda when appropriate.
Okay. All right. Well, for now, I will follow your lead.
Thank you. Brent.
You know, I don't know if it pertains to PrAC per se, but Park Place neighborhood is going to be one of the bigger neighborhoods to be developed in the city of Oregon City. And I hear it from the neighborhood association. There's actually a lot of concern because during the last wildfires, when people had to leave the Park Place neighborhood, Holcomb Boulevard, which was the main artery, got clogged. I mean, there were cars miles back. But with the expansion, and so they need to obviously address that in terms of the expansion of Park Place neighborhood. But as Park Place neighborhood gets developed, I would be very interested to know what the park development situation is going to be, because currently it's one of the largest neighborhoods in Oregon City with one of the smallest parks. It only has one park and it's about 3 acres. So I am kind of curious about that. I don't know if it's a future agenda item, but it's something I would really like to keep tabs on for selfish purposes.
Well, and I would think that would be a future agenda item. And Kendall, tell me if you think we should address that on its own, or if we should address that with the parks master plan.
That needs to be incorporated into the parks master plan. And Brent, anything that you can do to get your community Park Place area involved in the process, participating in the surveys with public engagement, so their voices are heard as well, that helps direct us moving forward in regards to priorities. I hear you loud and clear. Park Place it definitely needs to be a priority moving forward with park development, so we want to incorporate that in the parks master plan.
Okay.
So Brent, is that sufficient for you at this point?
Yeah, it is. I think to Kendall's point, it does kind of take grassroots activity to get people involved. I mean, so yeah, that does work for right now. Thanks, Troy.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Ken.
I was reading, I think it was an op-ed the other day, and there's some proposed dedication with some of that development. It looks like it's fairly skimpy compared to the overall size of the development. So I guess my question is, is there STC money available at this point to try to tie up a little bit of property, or to look at that possibly before they get their land use approval for that huge subdivision, even if it's just an option or some way to tie up some property and then as the STCs start coming in, that we'd be able to maybe go after it, or is there a big pot of gold waiting for us to spend?
There's no pot of gold,
I didn't think so.
but we are negotiating with the developer in regards to the parkland and we're looking at our options in regards to the property that's available to us, the property that they are proposing that they dedicate to us, and how we could possibly acquire additional lands moving forward. So that's definitely something that we've been working on for the past probably a year now. So
Sure.
Yeah.
So it'll be more than likely, hopefully more than just open space.
Oh yes, we definitely want it to be more than open space,
Okay.
but we're trying to negotiate. Obviously, we want as much property as we possibly can get. So we've been trying to negotiate to get more property if we possibly can. So we're looking at every option to
Yeah,
make sure we
okay.
have a bigger park in that
All right,
particular
perfect. Thank
area.
you.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Our next meeting is scheduled for September, I believe it's 22nd. And for now, we are adjourned.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.
Thank you.